Hello, I'm Nathan Pinkoski, Senior Fellow at the Center for Renewed America, and I'm here today to talk to you about Islamism. Islamism is best understood as a political ideology, a global project that aims to subordinate all of government and civil society to Islam. The means by which it works is to Islamize society, building up civil structures, working towards seizing legal codes, and ultimately having all individuals subject to the same system of law. When we speak of it as a global ideology, it's planned to implement a whole civilization, not just restricted to one particular area or region, but to be across the entire world, to unite everyone under the same political, ideological, legal, and juridical system. In spring of this year, many Americans learned and were troubled by a real estate project under development in northern Texas. What this project was, or at least what it appeared to be, was an attempt to develop an Islamic community of over 1,000 houses and perhaps even growing larger and larger. This project got the attention of the state of Texas, not only because of violations of local bylaws, of local business regulations, but also because the question arises whether a community like this is using provisions of the Fair Housing Act in order to set up an ethnic enclave, which would of course be illegal. But the deeper question we should ask when we look at these kinds of communities is whether they represent the onset of Islamism in the United States. And unfortunately, what this pattern of development does is it tracks with other instances of Islamism and the Islamization of society that have happened in other Western countries. Going forward, we're likely to see more and more of these kinds of projects developing in the United States, and we need to identify what they are so that we can learn the best ways to oppose them. What we're concerned about when we speak about Islamism isn't the practice of a particular religion. That's certainly guaranteed under the First Amendment, and many Muslims have no interest in Islamism or in perpetuating that. What we're concerned with is the rise of a culture that is anti-constitutional, that seeks to undermine the American Constitution and the American way of life. And we make two mistakes when we speak about Islamism. One is we should just think it's the same as terrorism, to think that Islamism is Al-Qaeda, for instance, and so we can handle it by simply tightening our terrorist laws. Second error is to think about it in terms of neutrality, to think that it can be handled by just writing a neutral provision that would deal with all extremist ideologies. And that fails to identify the unique threat. When they come to the United States, Islamists do not simply wish to be left alone to develop their own communities that are off from the rest of the public. They want to take control. People who live in the United States have a right to practice their own religion. They don't have a right to use their position in this country to sabotage the constitutional order or to work to develop a civilizational alternative or counterculture that seeks to overthrow it.